Welcome to Real Science.
Ever since we first saw that DeLorean hit 88 miles per hour, leaving a trail of fire in its wake, we've all asked the same question. Could you actually do it? Could you really build a time machine? Well, today, we're going to put the pedal to the metal on that exact question, separating the incredible movie magic from the even more mind-bending realities of physics. You know, this one line from Doc Brown just says it all, doesn't it? It perfectly captures what we're doing today. We are leaving the solid ground of our everyday lives to explore the very fabric of space-time. The real question isn't about roads. It's about whether pathways through time itself could ever really exist. All right, so before we dive headfirst into the real physics, let's start with the car that sparked all our imaginations. What, according to Doc Brown's brilliant and maybe slightly crazy mind, did it actually take to turn that stylish gull-winged car into a literal time machine? Okay, here is Doc's secret recipe. First, you need the heart and soul of the machine, the flux capacitor, which, as he so perfectly puts it, is simply what makes time travel possible. Simple enough. Then, you've got to hit that magic number, 88 miles per hour. And finally, you need a serious jolt of juice, 1.21 gigawatts to be exact. You know, a lightning strike should do the trick.
It's just a fantastic idea for a movie, right? But it really makes you wonder, if we take away the DeLorean and the make-believe flux capacitor, what does real science have to say about all this? Is any part of this dream of traveling through time actually grounded in reality? So let's start with the easier direction, traveling into the future. And here's the wild part. This isn't science fiction, not at all. It is a 100% proven, observable fact of our universe. And get this, you're actually doing it right now, just, very, very slowly. The whole idea hinges on something called time dilation. See, over 100 years ago, Albert Einstein completely blew our minds when he realized that space and time are not separate things. They're woven together. And one of the craziest consequences of his theory of relativity is that time isn't this constant ticking clock for everybody. Nope. Your personal experience of time literally changes depending on how fast you're moving. And we know this is true. Scientists actually tested it. They took two super precise atomic clocks, synchronized them perfectly, left one on the ground and put the other one on a jet that flew around the world. And guess what? When the plane landed, the clock that had been flying was a tiny, tiny fraction of a second behind the one that stayed put. Its journey through time was different. It had effectively jumped a few nanoseconds into the future. Okay. So traveling to the future is real, even if we can only do it by tiny amounts right now. But what about the big one, the holy grail of time travel, going backwards? Well, for that, we have to get into the much weirder, much more speculative side of physics. So, according to Einstein's general relativity, you shouldn't think of space and time as, empty space. It's much more like a giant, stretchy sheet of fabric, like a trampoline. And heavy things like stars and planets, they create dips and curves in that fabric. And that curvature, that's what we feel as gravity.
Now, think about that trampoline. If you can bend it, could you, maybe, fold it over on itself? Could you poke a hole through it to connect two different spots? That's exactly the idea behind a wormhole. In theory, it's a tunnel that could connect two really distant points in space, basically creating a cosmic shortcut. But if it can connect 2 points in space, could it also connect 2 points in time? So how would you even turn a space shortcut into a time shortcut? Well, the theory goes something like this. First, you find a wormhole. Then, you grab one end of it and somehow accelerate it to nearly the speed of light. Now remember time dilation? That moving end would age slower than the end that stayed still. And just like that, you'd have a tunnel connecting, say, the year 2024 with the year 2124. But, and this is a huge but, to keep that tunnel from snapping shut instantly, you would need something called exotic matter, a totally theoretical substance with properties so bizarre we're not even sure it can exist. But let's just pretend for a second. Let's say we find some exotic matter, we build our time machine, and we're ready to go. We now face an even bigger problem. And this one has nothing to do with physics and everything to do with pure, simple logic. The paradoxes.
And here it is, the classic grandfather paradox. The logic is just a perfect, inescapable loop. You go back in time, you stop your grandparents from meeting. That means your parent is never born, which of course means you are never born. So, if you were never born, who went back in time in the first place? It's a complete contradiction that seems to slam the door on backward time travel for good.
So, is that it then?
Is traveling to the past just a logical impossibility? Well, maybe not. Some physicists came up with a principle that just elegantly sidesteps this whole messy problem.
It's called the Novikov self-consistency principle. And what it basically says is that the universe absolutely hates a paradox, so much so that any event that could create one just can't happen. The probability is zero. The laws of physics themselves would literally conspire to stop you from creating a contradiction.
And this has a pretty huge implication for the idea of free will. This quote from physicist J. Craig Wheeler just nails it. If you traveled to the past, you wouldn't be some free agent who could do whatever you wanted. You could try to change history, sure, but something would always stop you. Your gun would jam, you'd slip on a banana peel at the last second. The universe would literally make you clumsy to ensure history stays exactly as it was.
So the big takeaway here is this. According to this principle, you can't change the past, because your visit to the past was always part of that history to begin with. You might fulfill events, you might even be the reason something happened that you thought you were trying to prevent, but you could never, ever alter it.
Wow. Okay, so we've gone from a flying DeLorean all the way to Einstein, wormholes, paradoxes, and the nature of free will itself. So after all of that, where do we actually stand? What's the final verdict on time travel?
Let's break it down one last time. Traveling to the future, it is 100% real. It's a proven fact of physics. The only hurdle is a technological one. We just need to build a ship that can get us close to the speed of light. Now, traveling to the past, that is a whole different story. It is still highly, highly theoretical. We'd need to figure out if exotic matter is even real, then learn how to handle it, and even then, we'd have to deal with the fact that causality itself might stop us from ever changing a thing.
And that leaves us with one final, kind of spooky question. If traveling through time is, or ever will be possible, where is everybody? Why haven't we met any tourists from the future? Are they hiding from us? Is it just too difficult? Or, and this is the really mind-bending possibility, are they already here, all around us, simply playing their part in a history that, from their perspective, has already been written?